The courtroom freezes as the mayor's daughter storms in, smirking, entitled, untouchable. She doesn't sit, she doesn't wait. She laughs. Then she points at Judge Judy and whispers the words that end everything. Laws are for common people. The room goes dead silent. Judge Judy leans forward, eyes locked on her. Calm. Dangerous. Say that again, she says softly. I dare you. The girl's smile vanishes. Color drains from her face as Judge Judy stands. What the judge announces next doesn't just end the case. It shatters the mayor's power and rewrites this spoiled teen's future forever. But before we get into it, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments and hit subscribe for more shocking courtroom moments. The mayor's daughter is still smirking when the bailiff steps forward, unsure whether he should escort her to a seat or brace for impact. Her arrogance hangs in the air like perfume, thick, overwhelming, and impossible to ignore. The courtroom feels smaller after her words, as if the walls themselves leaned in to witness what arrogance looks like when it finally meets consequence. Judge Judy does not speak right away. She does not need to. The silence she commands is sharper than any reprimand. The mayor's daughter shifts her weight, still wearing the remnants of that smirk, but it flickers, just once, when the judge lifts her gaze. It is not loud, not dramatic, but it is unmistakable. The first hairline crack in entitlement. State your name for the record, Judge Judy says. Her tone is calm, but calm from her is more dangerous than any outburst. The girl lets out a soft laugh, the kind that tries to sound amused but lands as nervous instead. You know who I am, she replies. Everyone does. Judy's eyes narrow, not in anger, but in surgical precision, like she is identifying exactly where the wound is before she cuts. I asked for your name, she repeats, not your reputation. Behind the mayor's daughter, the victim, a young grocery store cashier, sits small and silent, hands clasped so tightly the knuckles have gone white. She does not look at the girl. She does not look at the judge. She stares at her own lap, as if recalling the moment she was humiliated publicly by someone who believed the world bent beneath her feet. The girl scoffs. This is ridiculous. I was dragged here for an overreaction. She flicks a hand toward the cashier without even fully turning. Made a scene. I simply reminded her who she was talking to. A faint murmur ripples through the courtroom. Not outrage, recognition. The kind that says, we know this type. Judge Judy leans forward, elbows on her bench, studying the girl the way a seasoned surgeon studies an X-ray before announcing the prognosis. Is that what you think happened? She asks quietly. The mayor's daughter lifts her chin. It is what happened. Her confidence is loud, but her voice wavers on the final word. She hears it. Everyone hears it. Judy gently taps the folder in front of her. Once, a light sound, but heavy in meaning. Interesting, she says, because this file suggests otherwise. The camera tightens on the mayor's daughter's face, catching the moment her smirk finally dies. Her eyes follow Judy's hand as it rests on the folder, a folder she has not yet seen, but immediately fears. The silence deepens, settling into the room like a held breath. Judy lets the moment stretch, lets the tension settle on the girl's shoulders like a weight she has evaded for far too long. Then she slides the file an inch forward, and the shift in her expression, sharp, almost cold, makes the entire courtroom lean in as she says, "Let us begin with what you hoped no one would ever read." The room stays frozen as Judge Judy taps the folder with one finger, slow, deliberate, and far more dangerous than raising her voice. Even the mayor's daughter stops breathing for half a second. Judge Judy flips the first page, her eyes scanning lines with the kind of focus that exposes lies without ever naming them. The mayor's daughter shifts her weight again, but this time it is not arrogance. It is discomfort, a quiet, creeping awareness that her story is no longer the only one being told. According to this, Judy begins, her tone steady as a scalpel, this is not your first incident. The girl scoffs, but the sound lands hollow. People exaggerate, she mutters. They love taking shots at me. It comes with being who I am. Judy lifts her gaze, not angry, not impressed, just knowing. Being who you are, she repeats, should not exempt you from being decent. A few members of the audience exchange glances, nodding subtly. The mayor's daughter catches it. Her face tightens. Judy continues, turning another page. The rustle of paper feels like a gavel each time. Complaint from a school librarian, complaint from a restaurant server, complaint from a crossing guard. Goodness, that is a new one. Her eyebrows rise. Each alleges disrespect, verbal aggression, or threats. Shall I continue? I told you, the girl snaps, voice a little too sharp. People lie. No, Judy replies softly. People report. She gestures toward the victim. And today, one of them found the courage to show up. The young cashier's hands tremble slightly as she lifts her head. Her voice is almost a whisper. I did not want to cause trouble, but when she screamed at me, her breath catches. I just froze. The mayor's daughter lets out a humorless laugh. You are being dramatic. I did not scream. I barely raised my voice. You pointed directly in my face, the cashier says, her eyes lowering again. You told me I would regret breathing the same air as you. A ripple of disbelief sweeps through the room. Even the bailiff turns his head. The mayor's daughter's mask cracks for a full second. Her jaw tightens, her eyes flare, her composure slips. She tries to recover with a shrug. She is lying. Judy tilts her head. Is she? The question is gentle, but lethal. Because your tone suggests a familiarity with that kind of insult. The audience stirs. The mayor's daughter breaks eye contact. Judy closes the folder halfway and rests her hand on it, her expression shifting, calmer, heavier, colder. Tell me, she says, did your father teach you that laws are only for common people? The girl stiffens. Color drains from her cheeks. I never said... But Judy lifts the folder slightly, revealing a page beneath it, a page the girl recognizes, a page she never expected to resurface. Judy slides it forward just enough for her to see and says, then let us talk about where that attitude truly began. The moment Judge Judy mentions the mayor, something flickers behind the girl's eyes, fear, faint but undeniable, before arrogance rushes back to cover it. The courtroom's atmosphere changes instantly. It is subtle, like a shift in air pressure, but everybody feels it. The mayor's name is not just a title, it is a shadow, long and heavy, stretching across the courtroom like a storm front arriving without warning. Judge Judy lifts the page she uncovered in Section 2, her gaze steady, her posture unshakably calm. Your father, she says, appears quite invested in keeping your records clean. The mayor's daughter huffs, aiming for confidence, but landing closer to irritation. My father has nothing to do with this. I handle my own problems. A soft scoff escapes someone in the audience. The girl hears it. Her shoulders tighten. Judy arches a brow. Is that so? Because according to this report... She taps the page lightly. Your father contacted the city attorney 3 times the day after your last incident. A flush creeps up the girl's neck. He was just checking in. That is what parents do. No, Judy replies, tone cooling further. Parents guide. That is different from intervening. The victim shifts, eyes lifting for the first time. Her voice is cautious, unsure. I heard her say, my father will take care of this, when the security officer asked her to calm down. The mayor's daughter whirls toward her. You heard wrong. But the tremble in her voice betrays her. A new voice emerges from the far side of the courtroom, a store employee who steps forward with hesitation but unmistakable purpose. A young man in a simple uniform, badge still clipped to his belt. He clears his throat. Your Honor, I saw everything, and I recorded part of it. Just in case. The mayor's daughter stiffens so violently, her chair creaks. Judy doesn't react with surprise, only a slow nod, as though she anticipated exactly this moment. Please approach, she says. The young man hands the phone to the court clerk, who transfers the file onto the monitor. As the screen flickers to life, the lights dim slightly, casting a cool glow across the room. The girl's breathing picks up. This is ridiculous, she whispers. He is exaggerating. He is just trying to... But her voice cuts off as the footage freezes on the first frame. her face inches from the victim's, twisted with entitlement, fingers stabbing the air like a weapon. The audience murmurs. The bailiff shifts his stance. Judge Judy watches the girl, not the screen. "This," Judy says softly, "was your version of handling your own problems?" The mayor's daughter swallows hard. She has no answer. Not a convincing one. Not any at all. Judy signals to the clerk. "Play it." And as the video begins to move, revealing what truly happened, the girl's smirk finally collapses, frame by frame, just as the judge turns another page in the file with a look that says the worst is still coming. A single frame fills the monitor. The mayor's daughter, leaning forward, finger poised like a blade, her mouth mid-threat. The stillness of that image alone cuts through whatever confidence she has left. The courtroom is silent except for the faint hum of the monitor. Even the fluorescent lights seem to soften, as if the room itself understands that what is about to play cannot be softened by anything. "Proceed," Judge Judy says. The video begins. The first sound is the mayor's daughter's voice, sharp, condescending, unmistakably mocking. It slices through the quiet like brittle glass. "Oh, look at you," she snaps in the recording. "Do you even understand who you're talking to?" On the bench, the real girl flinches, as though hearing her own voice from the outside for the very first time. A blush of humiliation spreads slowly across her cheeks. She had hoped the footage was distorted or blurry or incomplete. Instead, it is painfully crisp. The video shows her invading the cashier's personal space, pointing, pacing, escalating with performative arrogance. The victim on screen looks terrified. The victim in the courtroom closes her eyes, reliving it, breath trembling. The clip continues. "You'll regret this," the girl snarls. "People like you always regret stepping out of line." A sharp inhale sweeps through the audience. The words land differently now, no longer just insults, but evidence of entitlement sharpened into a weapon. The girl tries weakly. This angle is terrible. It makes things look worse." "The angle," Judge Judy replies, "did not create your words." The girl opens her mouth to argue, but nothing comes out. The video ends with her storming away, throwing a display item to the floor in a final burst of spite. The crash echoes faintly from the speakers even after the clip stops. Silence follows. A thick, judgment-heavy silence that holds the entire courtroom in place. Judy studies the girl with eyes that see past performance, past privilege, past bluster. "Do you still believe this was an overreaction?" she asks quietly. The mayor's daughter looks around desperately, searching for support that isn't there. Her earlier confidence is gone, swept away by the undeniable truth of her own actions playing out larger than life. That is not... It was taken out of context," she stammers. "The context," Judy replies, "is your behavior." She taps the folder again, another soft, terrifying sound. "And unfortunately for you, this footage isn't the only incident documented." A tremor runs through the girl's posture. "What do you mean?" she whispers, more plea than challenge. Judy turns another page in the folder. There is something on that page, something heavier, something the girl clearly recognizes from the way her breath catches. "In fact," Judy says, voice even, almost gentle, "this is not the first time your father has attempted to clean up your behavior behind the scenes." The mayor's daughter pales. Judge Judy lifts the page fully, revealing the damning signature at the bottom. "Let us discuss this payoff from last spring, shall we?" The mayor's daughter freezes as Judge Judy lifts the page, the mayor's unmistakable signature shining back at her like a spotlight she cannot escape. The courtroom does not move. Not a whisper, not a shifting chair. Not even the hum of the overhead lights seems loud enough to fill the silence Judge Judy creates with a single sheet of paper. "This," Judy says lightly, tapping the signature, "is a documented payout to resolve an incident you called a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding that cost taxpayers nearly $8,000 in administrative hours." The girl swallows hard. I did not know he did that." "Did you not?" Judy asks, her voice deceptively soft. "Or did you simply choose not to ask?" The mayor's daughter shifts in her seat, fingers twisting together in her lap. The confidence she wore earlier now feels too heavy, like clothing several sizes too large, slipping off her bit by bit. The victim watches quietly, her expression a mix of vindication and disbelief. She had walked into this courtroom expecting to be ignored again. Instead, she is watching someone who once towered over her begin to shrink. Judy flips the paper back down. The video alone revealed entitlement, she continues. But this, she taps again, shows a pattern, a belief that consequences are optional, that rules apply to others, but never to you. That is not true, the girl blurts. People twist things just because I am. Because you are what? Judy cuts in sharply. Important, special, untouchable? The words land like thrown stones. The girl's lower lip trembles before she bites down on it. You do not understand, she mutters, but the fight in her voice has thinned. People target me. People respond to you, Judy corrects. There is a difference. The audience murmurs in agreement. Suddenly, the mayor's daughter points directly at the victim, a gesture meant to regain control, but only making her look desperate. She set me up, she insists. She wanted attention, so she provoked me. The victim's face drains. That is not true, she whispers. I was just doing my job. Judy's eyebrows lift slowly, the way a storm cloud rises before lightning strikes. Evidence? She asks the girl. Witnesses? Documentation? No, the girl stammers. Then do not weaponize accusation to escape accountability, Judy warns, her voice low but sizzling with authority. This courtroom is not your playground. A wave of tension ripples through the benches. Even the bailiff's stance shifts, tighter, more alert. The mayor's daughter shrinks further into her chair, shoulders pulled inward, confidence draining drop by drop. For the first time, Judy says, you are facing the truth without your father to protect you. The moment Judge Judy mentions the mayor, something flickers behind the girl's eyes, fear, faint but undeniable, before arrogance rushes back to cover it. The girl's breathing quickens. She opens her mouth, maybe to protest, maybe to beg, but a sudden knock interrupts the moment. A clerk enters with a document in hand, urgency etched across her features. Your Honor, the clerk says, voice tight, this just arrived from city administration. And the mayor's daughter goes pale as paper. Her voice jumps an octave the moment the clerk enters, panic slicing through whatever arrogance she has left. The mayor's daughter grips the edge of her chair as if the document itself is a threat. Judge Judy gestures calmly. Bring it forward. The clerk approaches with the envelope held carefully, almost reverently, as though carrying something volatile. The mayor's daughter watches every step, her breath shallow, her fingers tapping nervously against her knee. The smirk she once wore like armor is gone. Now there is only fear straining behind her eyes. The envelope lands on Judy's bench with a soft thud, a sound so small yet so devastating in the charged quiet of the room. Judy slides a finger beneath the seal, tearing it open with precision. Paper rustles. The mayor's daughter flinches as though each sound is a crack in her carefully constructed world. This, Judy says, scanning the document, comes directly from city administration. Her voice carries no anger, but something much more frightening: clarity. It outlines multiple attempts by the mayor's office to obstruct the subpoena for your appearance today. The girl jolts upright. I did not know. I never asked him to. You cannot hold me responsible for that. Judy's eyes rise slowly, and the room chills. Did you stop him? The girl freezes. Did she? Of course she did not. Stopping him would mean admitting she was not untouchable. Her silence answers. The victim watches the unfolding collapse with wide, conflicted eyes, pain mixing with something like empathy, not forgiveness, but recognition. The recognition of someone who has finally realized they are not as powerful as they once pretended. I did not tell him to do anything, the girl insists, voice cracking. I swear, I did not want to deal with this. And so, Judy replies, he moved the earth to ensure you would not have to. The girl's breathing becomes unsteady. She wipes her palms against her skirt, but the trembling only grows more visible. A harsh truth slips from her lips before she can stop it. This is all blown out of proportion. I did nothing wrong. She jabs a shaking finger at the victim. She just wanted attention. Gasps ripple across the courtroom. The victim shrinks, wounded again, eyes pooling with humiliation. Judy slams her gavel once, not in outrage, but in warning. Enough. The word carries the weight of finality. You are unraveling before your own eyes, and still you choose to blame others. The mayor's daughter's chin quivers. I am telling the truth. No, Judy says, leaning forward. You are clinging to the only story that ever protected you. The girl's composure fractures completely. Her eyes shine with threatened tears, her voice stumbling over excuses that no longer make sense even to her own ears. Then the side door opens abruptly. A figure steps inside. Someone the mayor's daughter clearly recognizes. Her entire body stiffens, breath halting in her throat. Judy glances at the newcomer. Good, she says. Our next witness has arrived, and the girl's face drains of all remaining color. If you were sitting in that courtroom at this moment, would you stay silent, or would you speak up against power when it starts to crack? Tell me what your gut says. The envelope still sits on Judge Judy's bench, but it is the new witness, standing quietly near the door, that makes the mayor's daughter's breath stutter. She knows exactly what he carries and exactly why her pulse will not steady. Judge Judy gestures for the witness to approach. The courtroom watches with a collective, anticipatory silence, like everyone knows the truth inside him is heavy enough to tilt the scale of this case. He is young, dressed in city administration attire, a badge clipped to his belt. He holds another envelope, slim but clearly important. His expression is uneasy, as if the words he is about to speak have been replaying in his mind for days. State your name for the record, Judy says. He clears his throat. Daniel Herrera, Your Honor. I work in the Municipal Records Division. The mayor's daughter sinks an inch lower in her seat. Daniel avoids her eyes. And what brings you here today, Mr. Herrera? Judy asks. Daniel exhales, steadying himself. I submitted a supplemental document, one that contradicts the official communication from the mayor's office. A ripple of murmurs flows through the room. Judy lifts the new envelope, weighing it lightly between her fingers, not physically, but morally. Contradicts in what way? She asks. Daniel swallows. There were directives, from higher-ups. We were told not to release certain records relating to the subpoena for this hearing. The girl blurts out, That is not true. He's lying. He hates my father. Daniel's face softens, sad, not angry. I have no feelings about your father. I have a duty to the city. The truth is, the mayor's office tried to block the subpoena 3 times, even after the ethics committee approved it. For a moment, the whole courtroom seems to lean back, not in shock, but in grim confirmation. Judy turns her gaze to the girl. Did you know about these attempts to interfere? The girl hesitates too long. Her silence, trembling and trapped, is louder than an admission. No, she finally whispers. I never asked him to do anything for me. But you never told him not to, Judy replies. And sometimes silence is permission. The mayor's daughter breaks into shaky breaths. Her hands grasp the sides of her chair as though needing to anchor herself to a world that is no longer bending around her. Daniel continues, voice steady. There is also a memo attached, from the mayor himself. The girl's head snaps up. No, that cannot be. Judy holds up the memo, eyes narrowing slightly as she reads. It states, ensure my daughter's case is delayed or dissolved. She is not to suffer public embarrassment. The courtroom gasps. The mayor's daughter covers her face, shoulders shaking, not in grief, but in the unbearable realization that her father's protection has now become evidence against her. Judy sets the memo down gently, the gesture almost merciful. Thank you, Mr. Herrera, she says. You may step aside. Daniel nods and retreats quietly. Judge Judy turns to the clerk. Bring in the next witness. The side door opens again. The mayor's daughter inhales sharply, too sharply. Her former best friend enters, eyes downcast, hands trembling. carrying papers the girl clearly never wanted anyone to see. The moment her former best friend steps into the courtroom, the mayor's daughter stops blinking. It is the look of someone watching their last lifeline walk in holding scissors. The young woman approaches slowly, each step feeling like the echo of a friendship long dead. She clutches a stack of papers, screenshots printed in shaky ink, folded and refolded until the edges fray. Her posture is tight, shoulders drawn inward, as though she is walking through memories that still burn. Judge Judy studies her kindly. "State your name for the record." "Marissa Collins," she says softly. Her voice wavers, but not from fear, from heartbreak. The mayor's daughter exhales sharply. "Marissa, what are you doing? You do not have to be here. You do not have to do this." Marissa finally looks at her, eyes full of sorrow, disappointment, and something deeper, exhaustion. "Yes," she whispers. "I do." The girl flinches. Judy gestures for Marissa to continue. "Tell us what you witnessed." Marissa's fingers tighten around the papers. "I was with her the day of the store incident. I tried to calm her down, but she kept yelling. She said the cashier needed to learn her place." "That is a lie," the girl snaps, rising halfway from her seat. "Marissa, we talked about this." "No," Marissa cuts in gently. "You talked. I listened, for years." The courtroom shifts. Even the air feels heavier, carrying the ache inside Marissa's voice. Judy nods. "What are those documents you brought?" Marissa steps forward, offering them with trembling hands. "Messages," she says. "Ones she sent me after the incident." Judy begins to read. Each message is a dagger, lines dripping with mockery, cruelty, a sense of superiority so ingrained it reads like instinct. "I put that girl in her place," Judy reads aloud. "Bet she will think twice before challenging someone like me." The mayor's daughter reaches out as if she can snatch the words out of the air. "Stop reading those. They were private. You cannot." Judy's gaze silences her instantly. Marissa's breathing grows uneven. "I covered for her before," she admits. "I thought I was helping a friend, but every time I did, she hurt someone else. I cannot be part of that anymore." The mayor's daughter shakes her head, panic rising. "You betrayed me." "No," Marissa says quietly. "You betrayed yourself." The courtroom absorbs the blow. Judy looks back at Marissa. "Is there anything else you wish to add?" Marissa hesitates, then nods, her eyes glistening. "Yes. One more thing. She told me her father promised her she would never face consequences. That he would make sure of it. That she was above all of this." Her voice softens to a tremor. She believed him. The mayor's daughter collapses back into her seat, face draining of color. The audience gasps. The victim covers her mouth. Judge Judy's expression hardens, not with anger, but with understanding of how deep the rot goes. "So tell me," Judy says, leaning forward, "what happens when the world someone promised you comes crashing down?" The mayor's daughter cannot answer. Not anymore. For the first time all day, the mayor's daughter sinks into her chair, not out of defiance, but because her knees simply cannot hold the weight of everything collapsing around her. The courtroom feels colder now. Not judgmental, not angry, just quiet. The kind of quiet that reveals truth because nothing is left to hide behind. The mayor's daughter stares at the bench, her pupils blown wide, breaths shallow and uneven, as though she has forgotten how to inhale without permission. Judge Judy watches her with a gaze stripped of all theatrics. No raised voice, no sharp retorts. Just the steady, unblinking look of a woman who has seen countless egos crumble and knows exactly what comes next. Marissa, the former best friend, remains near the witness stand, fingers trembling as she clutches her own elbows. The guilt in her posture is unmistakable. Guilt not for telling the truth, but for knowing she should have told it sooner. "Ms. Collins," Judy says gently, "you may step down." Marissa nods, her eyes lingering on the girl she once protected. There is no victory in her expression, only grief. The mayor's daughter tries to speak, but only a thin, broken sound escapes her throat. She swallows hard, trying again. I did not mean..." I did not want. Her words fall apart before they even form. Judy leans forward. Take your time. The girl presses a shaking hand over her mouth. He always told me that people would try to tear me down, that I needed to be stronger than them, that I deserved more. Her voice cracks on the last word, dissolving into a stifled sob she tries to smother with the heel of her palm. It is not the dramatic crying of someone trying to manipulate a room. It is the collapse of someone who has run out of script. The victim watches her quietly, eyes softening despite everything. Not forgiveness, just recognition. The recognition of a human being finally confronting herself. Judge Judy nods once, very slowly. Your father told you that you were superior, untouchable. The girl squeezes her eyes shut. Tears slip free despite her attempt to hold them back. He said the world was full of people trying to make us look bad, that they hated us, that I had to fight back. Always. And so you did, Judy replies. Even when there was no fight, even when the only battle you waged was against people who never raised a weapon. The girl stares at the floor, her breath hitching, world collapsing inward. It is Marissa who speaks next, voice trembling but full of an honesty that cuts deeper than any accusation. You were not fighting them, she whispers. You were fighting the fear he put inside you. The mayor's daughter's face breaks, completely, visibly, undeniably. Judy lets the silence fill the room again. Then, gently but firmly, she asks the question that stills every heartbeat in the courtroom. Tell me, Ms. Harrington, what did you think would happen when the truth finally caught up to you? The girl opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. And in that voiceless moment, between her inhale and the collapse of her composure, the side door swings open with another delivery marked urgent, addressed directly to Judge Judy. When someone finally breaks under the weight of their own lies, do you feel sympathy, or is it simply justice catching up? Tell me what you see happening here. The mayor's daughter's breathing turns fragile, too fast, too shallow, as Judge Judy waits in purposeful silence. Silence that does not punish her, but forces the truth to finally speak. The courtroom seems to tilt around her, not physically, but emotionally, like the floor she has stood on her entire life is giving way grain by grain. The newest urgent envelope rests on Judge Judy's bench, unopened but looming, a presence heavy enough to make the girl's pulse thunder in her ears. Judy taps the corner of it gently. Before I open this, she says, I want you to answer a simple question. Why did you believe you were above consequence? The mayor's daughter winces as if struck. Her eyes dart to the audience, then to the victim, then finally back to Judy. I just... Words collapse in her throat, and then something inside her gives out. I was afraid, she whispers. The courtroom stills. Judge Judy leans in slightly, not to intimidate, but to listen. Afraid of what? The girl's breath trembles. My father, disappointing him. He always said people were out to get us, that if I let anyone talk back to me, it meant they were winning. She swallows hard. So I fought everyone. All the time, even when they weren't fighting me. Her voice cracks open like thin glass. Marissa, still seated nearby, watches with sorrow softening her features. You fought even when someone tried to help you, she says quietly. The girl closes her eyes, tears gathering. I know. The victim shifts in her chair, her own expression a mix of shock and empathy, unexpected, hesitant, fragile. I never wanted to hurt you, she says softly. I just wanted to do my job. The girl looks at her for the first time without anger, just regret, raw and unshielded. I know, she whispers again. I just didn't know how to stop being who he told me to be. Judge Judy lets the moment breathe. Then she opens the envelope. Inside is a single sheet, official seals, stamped signatures, concise language. Judy reads it silently, her expression shifting by degrees, from calm to concern to something more complicated. What is it? The girl asks, voice barely audible. Judy places the paper flat on the bench. It is correspondence from the city's ethics panel. The audience murmurs. Judy lifts her gaze. They report that your father attempted to influence this hearing again, using external pressure on administrative staff. The girl's face drains of color. Again, she echoes, barely breathing. Again, Judy repeats softly. The weight of the word crushes whatever remained of the girl's defenses. She covers her mouth with shaking hands, shoulders curling inward, as though she is shrinking under the realization of what her father has done, not just today, but her entire life. You are unraveling, Judy says, not unkindly. Not because you are a bad person, but because the story you were taught is falling apart. A tear escapes down the girl's cheek. Then Judy asks, very quietly, "Are you ready to stop living his truth and start facing your own?" The girl exhales a shaking sob, but before she can answer, the clerk steps forward again, holding a sealed packet stamped "Evidence Submission, Private Communications." And the courtroom tightens, sensing the next blow is personal. The sealed packet trembles slightly in the clerk's hands, not from fear, but from the weight of what is inside. And when Judge Judy takes it, the mayor's daughter lets out a broken whisper. "Please, don't." Judy opens the packet with meticulous calm, as though unwrapping the truth from years of distortion. Several printed pages slide out, emails, forwarded messages, internal memos, screenshots of conversations. The courtroom leans in. Judy begins reading silently, her brow tightening not with anger but with a deep, disappointed understanding. "Your Honor?" the girl whispers, voice shredded. What does it say?" But Judy doesn't answer immediately. She lifts one page, her voice steady as she reads aloud. "From the office of the mayor, ensure all proceedings against my daughter are diverted, softened, or eliminated completely. She is not to face public scrutiny under any circumstances." Gasps ripple through the room. The mayor's daughter doesn't gasp. She folds inward, as if the words are not surprising but confirming fears she never dared to speak. Judy continues, turning to the next page. "Criticism is a political attack. Our family is not to be questioned by staff or administration." The girl shuts her eyes. A tear slides down her cheek. Marissa looks at her, heartbreak etched across her features. "You told me he protected you," she murmurs, "but you never told me it was like this." The girl shakes her head violently. "I didn't want anyone to know," she says, each word trembling. "I thought if I acted strong, if I acted superior, people wouldn't see how scared I really was." The victim watches her, silently absorbing the unraveling truths, not excusing them, not forgetting them, but witnessing the humanity beneath the cruelty. Judge Judy sets the papers down. When she speaks, her voice is gentler than it has been all day. "What are you afraid of, Ms. Harrington?" The girl collapses into herself, hands covering her face. "Disappointing him," she whispers. "He always told me that showing weakness made me useless, that people like us were born to lead and everyone else existed to follow." Judy's expression softens, but her tone remains firm. "So you learned to mimic him?" The girl looks up, eyes red, lips trembling. "I didn't want to be like him, I swear. I just didn't know any other way." Judy nods slowly. Children repeat what they are taught, especially when what they are taught comes with fear. The girl's breathing fractures. For the first time, she looks truly young, lost in a world she thought she controlled, only to discover it was controlling her. Then Judy lifts the final document, her eyes sharpening. "This," she says, "is a transcript of a private conversation forwarded by an anonymous staffer. It includes a phrase I believe everyone in this courtroom will recognize." The mayor's daughter freezes. Judy reads, "Say it when they challenge you, your father told you. Say, laws are for common people. They will understand their place." The courtroom erupts, gasps, murmurs, disbelief blended with grim clarity. The girl's face shatters, tears flooding. She whispers the truth that breaks her wide open. "He made me say it. My father. Those weren't even my words." Her confession hangs in the air like smoke, heavy, choking, impossible to ignore. For the first time, the mayor's daughter looks less like a villain and more like a child who has finally realized the monster she feared. lives inside her own home. The courtroom absorbs the revelation in stunned silence. Even those who came expecting drama look shaken. No one imagined the infamous line was never hers to begin with, but inherited, conditioned, demanded. The mayor's daughter clutches the edge of the table as though the world has tilted. Her shoulders shake in short, uneven jolts. The arrogance she wore so confidently is gone, stripped away like a costume discarded after the final act. What remains is stark, raw vulnerability. Judge Judy watches her, not with triumph, not with contempt, but with the weary understanding of someone who has seen countless lives twisted by the people meant to guide them. "Ms. Harrington," Judy says softly, "look at me." The girl hesitates, then lifts her eyes. They are swollen, red-rimmed, terrified. "You repeated those words because you believed they made you powerful," Judy continues. "But in reality they made you small. They made you a reflection of someone else's fear and someone else's corruption." The girl's mouth quivers. "I didn't know how to say no," she whispers. "He said weakness would ruin us. He said people needed to be reminded of their place. And you believed him?" "I was raised to," she answers, voice barely holding together. "Every mistake I made, he erased it. Every person I hurt, he said they deserved it. He told me I was chosen, special, better." "And did that make you feel better?" Judy asks. The girl shakes her head violently. "No, it made me angry and scared and lonely." The victim, sitting quietly, shifts forward. Her voice is gentle, almost reluctant. "I don't forgive what you did, but I can see you weren't living for yourself." The mayor's daughter blinks, stunned by the unexpected compassion. Marissa, her former friend, wipes her eyes. "You could have been different," she says softly. "You still can be, but you have to stop letting him speak through you." The courtroom fills with a fragile quiet, one made not of judgment, but of reckoning. Judge Judy leans back slightly, allowing the moment to breathe. "What you've endured does not excuse your actions," she says firmly, "but it explains them. And justice considers truth, even the uncomfortable kind." The girl nods slowly, tears slipping down her face. "I want to be better," she whispers. "I don't want to be him." Judy folds her hands. "Then today is the first honest step you've taken." For a moment, the tension softens. Not relief, not redemption, but clarity, the kind that hurts and heals at the same time. Then Judy straightens, her expression shifting from empathetic to resolute. "Now that the truth is on the record," she says, "we move to accountability." The mayor's daughter inhales sharply, bracing herself. Judy reaches for her ruling pad, her pen poised midair, before saying, "And be warned, justice does not protect legacies, only truth." Judge Judy's pen glides across the ruling pad with slow, deliberate strokes, each one slicing through the last remnants of the mayor's daughter's imagined invincibility. The courtroom is so quiet you can hear the faint scrape of Judy's pen against paper. The mayor's daughter sits rigid, hands knotted together, eyes glued to the bench as though watching her own future being written, because she is. Judy finishes one line, then another, then pauses, lifting her gaze. "Ms. Harrington," she says, voice balanced between firmness and compassion, "your actions have consequences. Not because of who your father is, and certainly not because of who he told you to be, but because of what you chose to do." The girl's breath trembles. She nods once, the motion small and broken but honest. Judy continues. "The court orders a formal fine to be paid to the victim for emotional distress." She turns a page. "Additionally, you will complete 100 hours of community service, specifically in environments where kindness is not optional but necessary." The girl's chin quivers. Yes, Your Honor." "And one more requirement," Judy adds, voice dipping lower. "Mandatory counseling." A ripple moves through the courtroom, not shock, but recognition. Healing is rarely offered in these hearings, yet here it is, accountability paired with the possibility of transformation. The girl swallows hard. "Counseling?" "Yes," Judy says, "because your upbringing inflicted wounds you have not confronted. Ignoring them led you here. Facing them may keep you from ever returning." Something inside the girl softens, subtly but unmistakably. A surrender not to punishment, but to truth. The victim shifts forward, her voice gentle but steady. I appreciate that, Your Honor. Judy nods. Ms. Reynolds, your courage in coming here today was remarkable. You were intimidated, humiliated, but you still stood up for yourself, and that is something this court honors. A soft smile, fragile but genuine, flickers across the victim's face. Relief drapes itself over her shoulders like a blanket she has long been denied. Judy turns back to the mayor's daughter. You will also issue a public apology, she continues, not written by your father, not polished by his staff, yours, genuine, specific, and from someone who understands the harm she caused. The girl wipes her eyes, her voice barely a whisper. I will, Your Honor. I promise. Judy sets the ruling pad aside. Justice, she says, is not vengeance. It is responsibility accepted and empathy realized. She holds the girl's gaze. Today, you have the chance to step toward both. The girl nods again, tears streaming freely now. Not defensive tears, not manipulative ones, but tears of someone finally seeing the walls she lived behind and choosing to walk through the door instead. Now, Judy says, rising slightly, there is one more step. The girl lifts her head, bracing herself. Stand, Judge Judy instructs, and face the woman you harmed. Your apology begins now. And the girl rises, trembling, because for the first time in her life, she must speak without a script. Her legs wobble as she rises, every inch of her body trembling, not from fear of punishment, but from the unfamiliar weight of honesty she's about to attempt for the very first time. The mayor's daughter stands facing the cashier, her hands shaking so visibly the audience can see the tremors from several rows back. She opens her mouth once, closes it, tries again. Nothing comes out. It is not arrogance stopping her now. It is the realization that she has never apologized sincerely, not once, not to anyone. Apology was weakness. Vulnerability was failure. Those were lessons etched into her bones by a man who believed dominance was the only path to respect. Judge Judy waits patiently, offering no prompt, no pressure. Just silence. A silence that forces her to confront herself. Finally, the girl draws in a trembling breath. Her voice cracks. She blinks rapidly, fighting tears that spill anyway. I hurt you. The cashier's eyes widen, surprised by the rawness in those 3 simple words. The girl continues, voice shaking. I humiliated you. I used my father's name like a weapon. I treated you like you were beneath me. She swallows hard, chest rising and falling. You did nothing wrong. You were kind. You were doing your job. And I tried to destroy you for it. Tears stream down her face. She doesn't wipe them away. The audience leans in, not to gossip, but to witness someone learning humanity in real time. The victim hesitates, then softly asks, why? The girl's shoulders collapse. Because I didn't know how to be anything else, she admits, voice cracking open. I thought strength meant being feared. I thought respect meant never being questioned. A sob escapes her. I didn't know how to stop being who he taught me to be. Marissa, her former friend, covers her mouth, eyes glistening. The truth has finally surfaced, the truth she had hoped her friend would one day see. The cashier steps forward, voice gentle. I wasn't trying to challenge you. I was just trying to help a customer. The girl nods rapidly, shame twisting her expression. I know. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Her voice breaks completely. I didn't just hurt you. I hurt myself. I lost myself. And I can't fix what I did. But I'm going to try to fix who I am. The apology hangs in the air, fragile but sincere. Judge Judy studies her with a softness rare in the courtroom. That, she says quietly, is the first honest thing you've said all day. The girl bows her head. The cashier exhales softly, a breath she's been holding since the moment this nightmare began, and nods. Thank you, she whispers. Not forgiveness, but acknowledgement. A bridge, small, yet significant. The courtroom settles into a profound silence, a silence filled with something new, possibility. Judge Judy rises, her presence filling the room. "It's time," she says, voice steady, "for this courtroom to hear its final truth." And every head lifts, waiting for the verdict that will define everything that comes next. Before Judge Judy delivers her final verdict, tell me this. Do you believe people truly change when their world shatters, or do they only learn to fear the consequences? What do you think this moment means for her future? Judge Judy rises slowly, and the air shifts with her. No gavel, no command, just presence. A presence that tells everyone in the room that the final truth is about to land, and it will land hard. The mayor's daughter stands frozen in place, hands clasped so tightly, her knuckles glow white. She looks smaller than she did when she first walked in, no longer a force of arrogance, but a figure carved from the exhaustion of finally seeing herself. Yet there is something else too. Readiness. A fragile willingness to face what comes next. Judge Judy folds her hands atop the bench. "This courtroom," she begins, "does not care about titles. It does not care about families in power. It does not care about legacies built on fear or reputations upheld by silence." Her gaze sweeps the room, not dramatic but sweeping in its certainty. It cares about truth, and truth has been spoken here today. The mayor's daughter's breath shudders, tears gathering again but no longer spilling. She is listening, really listening. Judy continues, "You behaved cruelly. You exploited your privilege. You humiliated someone who was only trying to do her job." She pauses, letting the words settle. "But you also stood here today and confronted the roots of your behavior. That does not erase the harm, but it reveals something important. You are capable of change." The victim, standing nearby, watches with quiet intensity, no longer scared, no longer trembling. She stands tall in her truth. Judy's tone softens, but the steel beneath it remains. "The consequences I ordered earlier stand: compensation, community service, counseling, and a public apology." She lifts a finger. "However, let it be clear, these are not punishments. They are opportunities." The girl nods slowly, a single tear sliding down her cheek, not of guilt, but acceptance. Judy continues, her voice gaining weight. "You will submit to counseling not to satisfy a court order, but to unlearn the fear your father instilled in you. You will complete community service not to pay for your mistakes, but to learn humility and connection. And you will apologize publicly because accountability is not shame, it is growth." A murmur of agreement ripples through the courtroom. Then Judy straightens, her posture crisp with finality. "Regarding your father's interference, all documents, messages, and attempts to obstruct justice will be forwarded to the State Ethics Committee. His actions will be reviewed without delay." The mayor's daughter closes her eyes, exhaling a long, trembling breath, half sorrow, half relief. For the first time, she is not hiding behind his power. She is stepping out from it. Judy softens just a little. "Your life does not end today," she says. "But the version of you that walked into this courtroom? She must." The girl nods, quiet but resolute. Judge Judy lowers her hands. "This court stands for one truth. Power does not make you untouchable. Character does, and today accountability, not privilege, has the final word." The gavel comes down. A life cracks open. And in the space where arrogance once lived, something new has room to grow.